We're on time. I see Pastor Griffin that's showing up. Good morning, Pastor Griffin.
Good morning, Mayor.
Appreciate you being here. Appreciate to see everyone. We're thankful for this day, and we've gotten another chance to do something good and decency, and it's good to see everyone. But it is 9 o'clock, and I am calling the meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to call on Pastor Griffith to lead us with the invocation. And after he does the invocation, we will stand and do the pledge led by Councilwoman Johnson. And you can see the flag over my left shoulder, I hope. And we will continue from there with the agenda. Pastor Griffith.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always a pleasure to be with y'all. So let's all bow and pray together. Yep. Father God, we come before you today recognizing that you are God, the God of all things. You created all things, and Father, by you, all things continue to exist and be. And so, Father, we just bow our hearts before you just to worship today, to recognize that you are God and not we ourselves. Father, we know there's a lot of things going on in our country that have us down. Father, the political unrest, the social unrest, this pandemic and wearing these masks, and Father, everything that's going on has a tendency to give us an outlook on things that are not what you would have us to do. But Father, as we approach this Christmas season, I pray, Lord, that it would renew a spirit of hope within us to celebrate, Father, the good things in life. Lord, there's a lot of good people in this world. There's a lot of people who love you and are trying to do what's right. And Father, we just need to have a optimistic outlook, to have a hopeful outlook. And Father, when we look to you, you help us to do that. So Lord, just help us to celebrate this Christmas season as we celebrate the birth of our Savior. And Father, that you would bring hope to all people, that you love us, that you proved that by sending Jesus and him dying on the cross for us. And Father, because of that, we do have hope. So just bless us as we worship and celebrate this Christmas season. I pray for this council, Lord, that you would bless them, give them wisdom, help them, Father, to serve in a way that would bring honor and glory to you and a help to the people of this community. So just help them, Father, to come to do the right thing that you would have them to do. And we'll give you the praise and the glory, Father, for all of this. And we do ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We can stand for the pledge. Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America
and to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible, with
liberty
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Griffin. You are so welcome to stay on. However, if you decide to leave, it will not be held against you. And I promise you, we still going to love you.
I thank you, Mayor. I do have to leave. I got things I need to attend to. So God bless you all.
Thank you so much. And continue to pray for us in this city, in this country as well. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. We appreciate that. And proceeding on, Council, we do not have any presentations or proclamations at this time. At this time, under the City Clerk, Council, I would like to ask for a motion for the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for the November the 30th work session, as well as December the 1st council meeting. May I have a motion for that? And I ask that we take them, if it's your pleasure, in one vote. May I have a motion to approve the November the 30th work session as well as December the 1st council meeting? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordy, Mr. Gordy. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, Council, under City Council, are there any unfinished business at this time? Okay. There seems to be none. We will proceed on resolutions. On the administration, council, we have a resolution number 2020-298 to be ratified in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to make application to AEMA and FEMA hazard mitigation for grant funds to purchase 6 electrical power generators for the wastewater collection system. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City's wastewater collection, WWC, system has 33 sanitary lift stations that pump sanitary sewage and operate with electrical power, except when the normal electrical power supply is interrupted, in which case the lift stations cannot operate unless they have emergency power generators. And without power to a lift station, eventually an SSO will occur. And whereas the Alabama Emergency Management Agency, AEMA, in conjunction with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has hazard mitigation grant funds which can be used to purchase electrical power generators. And whereas Peoples and Quigley Incorporated has submitted estimates for the cost of 6 generators, which total $701,195.30, of which 25%, $175,298.83 would be funded by the City of Phoenix City. And whereas the city wishes to apply for said AEMA, FEMA grants for purchasing generators. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama hereby authorizes the filing of said applications, including all understandings and assurances contained therein, and directs and authorize the mayor and city manager to act in connection with the application and to provide such additional information to AEMA, FEMA as may be required. Passed, approved, and adopted this 10th day of December 2020, ratified this 15th day of December 2020.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to ratify for approval of this resolution. May I have a motion to ratify for approval, please?
Motion to ratify.
Okay, that's a motion by Mrs. Johnson, and that's a second by Mr. Bailey. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have the motion and the second. At this time, council, are there any comments or discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, I know we already have generators down there and stuff like that, but it's very important that we have a backup in these areas where it's needed. And we want the citizens to be aware of that. We realize that this top dollar item and the money is well spent. And plus we are going to get grants to help with this project. Can somebody elaborate on that for the citizens of Phoenix City, Mr. Hunter?
Giles,
Ms.
Mayor and Council, again, the 6 generators we're looking to purchase here with this grant, 3 of them fixed and 3 of them are portable. The 3 fixed ones will be at 3 different locations throughout the city. We'll have one in District 1 and District 2 and District 3. Is the way we assessed which needed more priority. We're putting one over at out in Crawford area, Highway 80 in Ladonia, and the other one will be going over in the industrial park, and the other one will be going off of River Trace Drive. That's your 3 fixed permanent ones. If we don't have those, just like we stated, power goes out, you'll have a sanitary sewer overflow, which will have raw sewage flowing all over the ground into creeks, which eventually go to the river, and it causes an environmental problem. And we have a major cleanup then, and then it costs the city excessive amount of money to clean it up. So this is why we're coming to the mayor and city council to allow this to happen.
I want to tell you that, let me ask you this, the portable generator, we can move them wherever we need to be, wherever they're needed at. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other? Thank you, Charles, so very much. If
Yes,
there's
sir.
not any other comments or discussion, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Proceeding on, council, on the administration, Next, we have a resolution in reference to accepting the audit financial statements as presented by Robinson, Grimes and Company, PC for fiscal year ending September the 30th, 2019. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas Robinson, Grimes and Company PC, certified public accountants, has completed the audit of the financial statements of the city of Phenix City, Alabama, as required for the fiscal year ended September the 30th, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that the audited financial statements as presented by Robinson, Grimes and Company PC, certified public accountants for the fiscal year ended September the 30th, 2019, are accepted as presented, and final payment for these statements is hereby authorized. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right. That's a motion by Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. All right. We have that. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
All right. Comments or discussion from anyone?
Yes, Mayor. This is something that we do annual every year, and we want the citizens to understand that this is an outside audit done by this company. And as the mayor usually say every year, nobody stole no money or anything of that nature. And the city in the best financial status it's ever been for a while. Mayor, we're going to ask somebody to elaborate on that for us for the citizens of Phenix City, please, sir.
Okay. Let me say this also. Again, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, sir.
He
Yes,
is a business. And I just thank God that this council and our city manager and his people, we run it like a business. But this is where the rubber meets the road. It tells everything about our how well managed the city is. It's very, very transparency that we are willing to let people see this, because I do know since I've been mayor, there's been a lot of nuances out there.
Right.
But I can tell you this is where the rubber meets the road, and anyone who would love to see this is welcome to. In fact, we would love for you all to, because this is a business. We work for the citizen of Phenix City. This is your money. But I will tell you, this is a very, very good audit that
Yes.
Robinson Brown has done. They've done it every year. This year, I think, has it exceeded even from the last one. When you look at the leverage position that the city is in financially, as far as the cash values that we have, as far as the reserve that we have, as far as our eternal control, which is in line. And there were some things from the last audit that internally we have gotten corrected. And I am so grateful for that, because that really tells the story. But it shows where we have reduced our debt, how we're being stewards of your money as the citizen. It shows the transparency of how we conduct this business. But our debt has been reduced. We have reserve is good. We have great leverage. And when you look at these numbers, it's something to really be proud of. And this council is very proud that the city manager and his team has done an outstanding job, because again, at the end of the day, this is where the rubber meets the road as far as how we're managing the citizen money and how we're being due diligent and making sure that we're putting things in place that will always be prevented as far as us getting in a crunch. And even, let me say this, it even shows that with us buying these 6 generators, we're making sure that if anything happened, that we can continue to operate fully as a city, but more importantly, taking care of our people. But it's a great report. The leverage is there. The cash is there. Great internal control is there. Now, let me say this. We all know how things can ebb and flow. That's why the city manager and his team has always, and we always have taken a very conservative approach, because at the end of the day, what matters is how well that is being managed. And this report really shows that. So with that, are there any questions or comments?
Yes, Mayor. One of the things that I like about this that I said a few minutes ago is the outside audit. You know, it's not that this company knows folks at the city and maneuver the numbers or stuff. These are factual numbers, and that's what I like about it. And as you said, I know in the past had been said, folks doing some of the numbers are puffing numbers up, stuff like that. That's not happening here in the city of Phenix City. Because this report is well put together, and Grimes and Robinson did a fantastic job on this report. We are proud of this report. Thank you, Mayor.
Our income statement looks good. Our balance sheets looks good. And like I said, if anyone want to have the opportunity to look at it, which we strongly suggest, we've always promoted that because we do deal transparently. And again, I'm just so grateful that the balance sheet looks very, very well as our income statement. So again, we want to thank Robinson Grimes for doing this. And with that, if there's no other comments from anyone, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, proceeding on, council, on the administrations, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing Alabama Power Company to install one LED roadway fixture 5000-8500 luminous street light at the end of 11th Avenue on pole number 6-024357. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that Alabama Power Company is hereby authorized and directed to render the following services for the City of Phenix City. Install one LED roadway fixture, 5000-8500 lumen street light at the end of 11th Avenue on pole number 6-024357. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, all of us have heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Mrs. Johnson, and second, Mr. Day.
That's fine. Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay. We have the motion and second. Council, are there any comments or discussion? Okay, not any. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Proceeding on, council. Next is a resolution in reference to accepting a proposal from Thompson Power Systems in an amount not to exceed $23,802 for preventative maintenance services for emergency generators. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phenix City, Alabama is in need of preventative maintenance services for all its emergency generators. And whereas the city has received a proposal for the preventative maintenance services for all its emergency generators from Thompson Power Systems in the amount of $23,802. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to accept the proposal from Thompson Power Systems for the preventative maintenance services for all its emergency generators in an amount not to exceed $23,802. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December 2020.
Okay, thank you. Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Is that Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have the motion by Mr. Gordon. We have the second by Mr. Bailey. Any comments or discussion, council?
Yes, ma'am. This is something that we do, Angela, every year, and this money here is well spent. It's very important that we do this program, and this program is installed for I think this is about 8 years on the council. I think this program been installed, and as I said, very important. This program is very important to service these generators. In other words, we're ahead of the game by doing this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other comments, discussion?
Well, it's 18 generators, isn't it? Is that right?
You mean the total?
Total number of them? I think it's 18 of them.
Charles?
That's
Wait,
correct.
that, Charles? Charles,
Yeah,
I can't hear you. It is.
That's correct, Councilman Bailey. There's 18.
Yes, that's not bad, bad preventive maintenance in my book, spending that kind of money to make sure that they stay up. Because
Yeah,
just like I
okay.
said a while ago, we can't afford for these things to go down. Or we would have a bad time with sewage and stuff running to different places.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Charles. No other.
Let me
Oh.
ask the question, and just for our citizens, really. So as a city of our size, is this a good number of generators to have, or are we somewhat under the amount that we should have to run our city just in case something happens? Or we're above what is pretty much expected for a city of our size?
No, ma'am, we can't fail to be below. We don't have those choices. They don't allow that. So we make sure we are where we at or above. And that was the goal. This whole field thing is to make sure this city handles its business right, was to make sure that we could afford to make sure we keep up the maintenance and go above where we should be, because if we was below, that would be a failure on my part and this whole city's part. To give you some history on that and to talk about things like that, you won't see anything that we are below on when it comes to things like that. That would be that I would need to resign. And because we don't operate that way. When we were talking about yesterday, and when we talk about these generators and maintenance of any kind in the city, people need to understand the city of Phenix City used to own its own gas company. We're in the 70s. If you check your history, and a lot of people that was around can tell you about this, failure to keep up maintenance on that, we had bad situation with our gas. That's how Alagasco, how we end up selling to them. We had an explosion off Dillingham, a bad one.
Yeah, I remember.
At a factory.
Sure.
A lot of people relatives and stuff. And it was through a lot of things that need to be repaired and fixed there. Went into debt. I can show you the numbers to that and everything else. Now, we are fortunate to still, and I'm telling you, each year we still have people coming at us trying to take over our utility system too. And as far as water and everything else, we try to manage it. We have these things, but everything that you can look at and know the history of this city, we know to make sure we stay up on top of maintaining it. And are we gonna have failures? Yes. Are we gonna have storms that's gonna cause us multiple problems? Yes. We're gonna have those, but being prepared and keeping everything in shape to keep it up. We've done a really good job of that, and making sure, like I say, putting this grant together, to take a look at that, it helps so much in being able to get far ahead and exceeding what we should be doing as far as the maintenance and keeping up things. But no, we look at the numbers and we look at what we have and what we should have in place. And that's a failure on management throughout if we don't have these things in place to take care of these failures. But yes, we are, to answer your question. And that's what we always have to look back. That's why I'm saying you have to have a mixture of new people that's been here, and veterans, everything else, and to look back and to be able to look through the records in the clerk's office to understand and know what's in place and why we do the things that we do to run and maintain this city. It's a constant thing. It don't take a day off.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that response. It's just important for our citizens to know that we are a city of our size. We not only just meet the expectations, but exceed expectations. So it was important for them to know that we have everything and above that we possibly could have to run this city efficiently. So thank you.
Let me show you something else too, Ms. Johnson. That's what I'm saying. The past 2 days I've had to talk a lot, and I need to, and that's for everybody. It's for the good of all of us, because we never know when something's gonna happen. You know, we're losing a lot of people. Could be me tomorrow. And that veteranship and leadership and things that people know that's been here, you know, it's starting to disappear a lot. And a lot of time we make mistakes when we don't know the history of something and why it's in place. Several years ago, and this coming year, I hope the pandemic really just lighten up on us and things give us a chance to get some normalcy back, because several years ago, we had to prove to a council that the city was operating effectively and efficiently. We were put up against 7 other cities of our size, a lot of them with a lot more money than we have and deal with. We outscored every last one of those cities throughout. Had an independent firm come in that nobody knew anything out of California. We was number one. We got nailed on one thing, and we got nailed on it because we exceeded what we should as a city, and that was in our Parks and Rec department. So for a city our size, we have more parks and maintained and kept up than any one of a city our size. So, but far as every other category in those 7 cities, we've exceeded that. So as a city manager, I believe in being tested and showing you all and the citizens what we are doing here, because even if it was on the side of a weakness, we know that we have to do things and work towards getting to that point to move forward and meeting or exceeding what the expectations are. So we have tested ourselves a lot to make sure this, because we have to deal with this so much as a city every 4 years or so, as far as people not knowing it. Then, so that's why it's good to have record, and it's good to have a good mixture so people can pass on this information for this city to function like it's been doing. Are there other things that we can venture into? Yes. But of course, when you have a financially sound city, you can venture into a lot of places and take care of a lot of different things. But if we had not worked to get to that point, then we would be in trouble. But I just want to make sure that we
And let me say this.
Information.
Let me say this, Mr. Hunter. He did say one thing as far as when we had that study done. We were number one except in one category, which was the Parks and Rec. And one of the main reasons why, as he stated, but one of the other things too, is that we hire more of our students from high school to work in our parks and recreation, to give them an opportunity. First of all, to mentor and to develop them and give them a chance to learn the workforce. So we hire more than any other city that we were compared to, and that's one of the reasons why we didn't score as well as the other cities in Parks and Rec. But that is a design that is strictly designed to be able to reach out, and in our community, what I sometimes believe in that we should grow our own. So that's why the reason why we didn't get where we need to get as far as that, because we do hire a lot of our students from our school systems to be able to work with the Parks and Rec.
And what
that's
they
a great thing. That's a great thing.
Saying on there, Mayor, it wasn't a failure. It was better than anybody else's, but they were saying we didn't have to do so much.
Yeah.
But we intentionally go out to do that much to involve the citizens. We're trying to produce future people that understand our system, that may work within this system. You know, you got to think about our area. Our area produce certain people. We produce a lot of educators and teachers and business people in Phenix City from school with ambitions. Right next door, you're dealing with Lee County. That's why we have so many engineers and people in agriculture and people that's doing far as the Patillos and the John Spraggins and the Angel Moores and all. They come out of the next door area where Auburn University at, where they produce a lot of this. But here, dealing with Troy, CVCC, and whatever, we produce a lot of people that's in education. Like I say, a lot of people come back home. They talk about our students returning back home and what they're involved in. So a lot of people are dealing with the Parks and Rec, because we have come to a child Hughes went to and got his education over at it was Columbus College during those times before they switched it. So we put out of you, he's out of you follow. We produce products here, and we produce a lot of people in different, but you have to know your area and why we produce these people here. And I thank God that we've had a chance to work. I've had a chance to work long enough to have the insight on what we're doing. But Chattahoochee Valley, like I say, they do a lot for us, and Troy University is right here. And like I say, Columbus State University. So it's a lot, Columbus Technical School. So we have a lot that's right here that we produce, but a lot of people always, they ask the question, why do these people, or the city works off of civil engineering. It don't work off electrical engineering or different type engineers and the different functions that we use. So we have to know what we are embodied by.
Right.
And it's different than a lot of people, but knowing and setting up things for our citizens, what we plan to have, like this pandemic threw off a lot of things. I had talked to, when we have our citizens come in, well, we can really just talk to them to understand their citizens. It does a lot. We had a public safety academy years ago that we put in place that educated a lot of people in how the city functioned, and they understood. That's the same thing that we have to do with our citizens now, open that up so they will understand what these department heads do and what their jobs are all about and what you all functions are and what mine is.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Any other comments, discussion? If not, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Proceeding on, council, on administration. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to accept a proposal from Goodwin, Mills and Kaywood Incorporation to resurface South Railroad Street from Somerville Road to US 280, 431 South, and Brickyard Road from Dellingham Street to the city limits. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City has received federal funds through the Columbus Phoenix City Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO, for the resurfacing of South Railroad Street from Somerville Road to US 280, 431 South, project numbers STPPC-5716, 250, and 255, and Brickyard Road from Dillingham Street to the city limits, project numbers STPPC 5716, 252, and 253. And whereas engineering and inspection services will be required during the construction of said project. And whereas Goodwin, Mills and Kaywood Incorporated has provided a proposal in the amount of $133,267.45 for this scope of services. The Alabama Department of Transportation, ALDOT, concurs with the scope and fees associated with this proposal. And whereas the city of Phoenix City will receive 80%, $106,613.96 federal funding and pledges 20%, $26,653.49. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby accept this proposal from Goodwin, Mills and Kaywood Incorporated to provide engineering and inspection services for above said project, and does further authorize and direct the mayor and city manager to enter into and sign said agreement. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Day, and that's a second, Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Okay. We have the motion and the second. Any comments or discussion? Okay, if not,
Mayor, I was going to ask, Ms. Moore, with you on these projects, it's important to think about this. We've been waiting on these for a while. Would you give the cost, the total cost for each one of these? And this is part of the grants that we was able to, secure and put in place. Each individual project and the total cost of both of them. This is something good, very good for the city.
Yes, sir. So the total cost of the South Railroad Street project is $1.24 million. And the total cost for the Brickyard Road project is $962,842. So it's a total of both projects because they were let together. So one contractor got both projects. So it's a total of $1.88 million. And the city was responsible for 20% of that, which was right at $440,000.
Wow.
So that worked out real good. Not only that,
Oh,
we were able
absolutely.
to secure, but we was able also to save.
Yes, sir. They did actually come in under budget. So that was shocking.
Because both of these projects together, when they started out, was over $2 million, $2 point something million. So we've been very blessed around this area, and all it takes is a little effort and, and hard work to get these things accomplished.
We've been truly blessed because you still got to have the money, the 20%.
Most
That's
definitely.
what we talked about earlier, how well the numbers are managed. So you still got to have that money, because if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
have the money, you won't get it. So we appreciate that. Thanks, Angel.
Are these gonna be done at the same time? One gonna be done ahead of the other one? How's that gonna work?
Yes, sir. One will be done ahead of the other one since the same contractor has both projects. And one reason we did it that way is because we did get a savings because they only had to mobilize to the city, one time.
One time.
Yes, sir. And we will, after this contract is signed with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, Aldott will set up a pre-construction meeting. And then from that, I'll be able to give y'all a better understanding of when we actually start the projects. Because of course we're in, temperature limitation weather right now. So there's only a certain time or certain temperatures that you can actually resurface up under. So hopefully we'll get the project started very soon. I know both are well needed.
Good.
All right.
But
Thank you.
Angel, you said it came in under budget, which is a good thing. The reason they gave us a break on that because they mobilized just one time, moved equipment just once in this area. That's what you're saying?
That's probably some of the savings. Yes, sir, Mr. Day.
But the
Okay.
other savings is competition, Mr. Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Angel. With that, at this time, council, I would like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, council, on the administration. We have a resolution in reference to adding an additional day to be observed for the 2021 New Year's holiday. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that January the 1st, 2021 is observed as the official New Year's holiday for the City of Phoenix City. An additional day, December the 31st, 2020, shall be observed. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. This time I'd like to ask for a motion for approval, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Gordon, second, Mrs. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have that, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Comments or discussion? If not, call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, council, proceeding on the fire department. We have a resolution in reference to declaring personal property as surplus and disposing of for the nominal sum of $1 and other valuable consideration to Battalion Chief Carl Taylorson in recognition of his 25 years of public service. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has items of personal property which are no longer needed for public or municipal purposes. And whereas Section 114356 of the Alabama Code of 1975 authorizes the municipal governing body to dispose of unneeded personal property. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the following described property is hereby declared surplus to be disposed of for the consideration of the nominal sum of $1 and other valuable considerations to Battalion Chief Carl Taylorson in recognition of his 25 years of public service and dedication to the Phoenix City Fire Rescue Services and the citizens of the City of Phoenix City. 1 Karen's helmet, model number W-1010-W. 1 Blackington Battalion Chief's badge, model number HI-GLO98. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
approve.
Motion, Mr. Day, second, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
All right, we have that, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Comments or discussion?
Just a quick comment, Mayor, if we haven't already, just want to thank Battalion Chief Carl Taylor-son for serving and doing the great works that he was hired to do. And just thank him for all his commitment and time that he has served. We really appreciate it and wish him well.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, council, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding now, council, on the Parks and Recreation Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to enter into a one-year agreement with Red Desk LLC for program management and online registration software in an amount not to exceed $8,000. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has found it advantageous to purchase the program management and online registration software to more effectively and efficiently manage the department and divisions. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has determined that software from Rec Desk LLC would be the most effective for this purpose. And whereas the software, all necessary modules, GIS integration and installation and training can be purchased for a total program cost not to exceed $8,000 for a period of 1 year, beginning January the 1st, 2021, and ending on December the 31st, 2021, with an option to renew yearly at a cost of $6,800 per year. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to enter into an agreement with Rec Desk LLC for software, all necessary modules, GIS integration and installation and training for 1 year in an amount not to exceed $8,000, beginning January the 1st, 2021 and ending December the 31st, 2021. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to approve. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
A motion, Mr. Gordon, and second, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
All right, we have that, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, comments or discussion, council? All right, if not, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And now, council, proceeding on the Parks and Recreation, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to enter into an agreement with Alabama Power Company to hang holiday lighting temporarily on power poles owned and maintained by Alabama Power Company. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phenix City, Alabama desires to provide a festive atmosphere for its citizens. And whereas the City of Phenix City would like to enter into an agreement with Alabama Power Company to hang holiday lighting on power poles owned and maintained by Alabama Power Company. And whereas the City of Phenix City agrees to temporarily install and maintain the holiday lighting during the holiday season and remove them when the season is over, no more than 60 days. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that the mayor and city manager are hereby authorized and directed to sign an agreement with Alabama Power Company that allows the city to temporarily hang holiday lighting on power poles owned by Alabama Power Company. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes,
Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve. May I have a motion, please?
To approve.
Motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordy. Okay, beat you to it, Steve.
That's all right.
We have the motion and the second. Comments or discussion? Okay, if not, Mrs. Lee?
yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Now, council, proceeding on the police department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor, city manager, and chief of police, Raymond Smith, to enter into an agreement with Russell County E911 for a multi-agency system administration contract for Spillman Computer System for a one-time fee of $8,650. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City desires to enter into an agreement with Russell County E911 for the multi-agency system administration contract for Spillman Computer System for the police department. And whereas the city council has reviewed said agreement submitted by Russell County E911 for a one-time fee for a total payment of $8,650. And whereas the city council finds the agreement to be a necessity for the day-to-day operations of city business. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the mayor and city manager and chief of police Raymond Smith are hereby authorized and directed to sign such agreement with Russell County E911. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay. Council, each of us have heard the reading of the resolution. I would like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right. Motion by Mrs. Johnson. May I have a second? May I have a second?
Second.
Was that you, Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
first? Okay,
Oh,
beat you
Mr.
to it
Bailey.
all. We have the
Mr.
motion. We have the motion in the second. You was a little slow on that, Mr.
You
Bailey.
get that buzz off.
You messing with your phone, but anyway, we have a motion in the second. At this time, or are there any comments or questions or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, could we get the chief to elaborate on that, how he affected that 911 board working with Russell County? And that's, as I said on yesterday, that's improved our relationship working in this community together. We want our citizens to be aware how effective this program will be, and this is something that needed to run the police department or law enforcement more effective.
Chief Smith?
Yes, Mayor and Council, as we discussed yesterday in the work session, these are not new agreements. These are continuations of agreements we've had in place since 1993. The software that we use to maintain a database to do our police reporting and 911 response is maintained by the Russell County E911 Center. That agency is the agency that manages the network that is used by the police department and also by Russell County Sheriff's Department, and that shares data amongst our three agencies. And what these agreements are, these are renewals. These are budgeted items that we budget for every year to maintain that database. And the real cost, of course, is times three. The first one under A is a $26,000 contract, and that contract maintains the administration of the software that the 911 manages and we utilize and the sheriff department utilizes. The under B is actually the software licensing fee, and that's about $90,000, $91,000, and we again pay a third of that as well. So it's split between the three agencies to maintain those systems in place for us to be able to do our job.
1 3 3 4 2 9 8 4 9.
Mr. Day?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Mess with that phone.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Any other
All
questions?
right, Chief, we
I'll be
really
happy to
appreciate
entertain
it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other? If not, at this time, I would like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also proceeding council on the police department is the resolution.
Wireless color.
Jimmy, y'all don't say nothing to me anymore when I tell him to cut them phones off.
Also, council on the police department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor, city manager, and the chief of police, Raymond Smith, to enter into an agreement with the Russell County E911 in the amount of $30,332.36 for a multi-agency software agreement and support contract for Spillman computer system. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City desires to enter into an agreement with Russell County E911 for the multi-agency software agreement and support contract for Spillman Computer System for the police department. And whereas the city council has reviewed said agreement submitted by Russell County E911 for a 12-month term and total payment of $30,332.36. And whereas the city council finds the agreement to be a necessity for the day-to-day operations of city business. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the mayor, city manager, and chief of police, Raymond Smith, are hereby authorized and directed to sign such agreement with Russell County E911. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Day, and second, Mr. Gordon.
Yes, sir. That way it went down. Yes,
Mrs.
sir.
Lee.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any comments or discussion? I think Chief.
Yes,
Smith.
sir, Mayor. I want the chief to maybe you guys understand, help me understand how that program works. Also, the information that our officer pull up, the Russell County can pull up, not only Russell County, other agency throughout this area can pull that information up as well through our program.
Chief
Yes, sir.
Smith.
Yes, sir. The software is quite complicated, but in a nutshell, what it does is if you call 911 either from a cell phone or a landline, it locates you, and then it maps that location on a map that's sent out to our dispatch center, who is then able to send that out to the appropriate emergency responder, whether that be fire, police, or EMS. That, of course, reduces the amount of time it takes us to find you in an emergency and get you the help you need. It does that for all calls, whether it be crime or rescue calls. And that of course, that information is shared amongst like you said, between the three agencies. We're also able to produce reports and information for other agencies to use, such as warrant information, warrant files, that kind of thing. So pretty robust system. And it's, again, we started using the system in '93, and it's just gotten better and better as time goes by. And we've got a lot of information, a lot of data in that information. So this is a pretty reasonable cost to maintain a database that as big as it is now, since it's been used for so long.
So if somebody passing through from another state or county, and our officer stop them, they can be able to tell what state they want it in and stuff like that.
Well, that does that plus other things, yes, because this software does link to the state databases as well. But most of it is a local database of work that we have done over the last 25 years. But it does have an interface to link to other databases, including the NCIC and the ACJIC, which is the criminal databases from both the state of Alabama and the FBI.
So, Chief, if somebody out there in the county and they call 911, they don't necessarily have to give their phone number and address. That map also let the dispatch know exactly where they're at.
It's a very, very robust caller ID. Yeah. So if you call, whether again from a cell phone, it uses triangulation from the towers to find exactly where you're calling from, whether it be right on the border on the Riverwalk or way down in Chubby and Hurtsboro. It will tell us exactly where you are based on computer locations and so forth, and get us. And again, whatever resource is closest to you, again, that's the one that gets sent to you to try to get you some help.
And if there is a criminal activity going on, and then they're right outside our police jurisdiction, Russell County takes over. Is that right?
Well, whether it be Russell County, Lee County, Columbus, any surrounding jurisdiction, they'll tell us exactly where they are, so we can again send the appropriate authorities, whether it be our jurisdiction or Russell County, Lee County, or Columbus.
And let me ask you one other question, Chief. I know it was a while back. Matter of fact, I actually saw this. There's something that took place here in Phoenix City, and I was on 13th Street by Red Lobster. Coming out there, our officer was behind him, Russell County officer was behind him, then Columbus police officer took off behind him, about 6 color, like something in a movie. How far in another city or county that we allowed to go and make the arrest or whatever?
In a hot pursuit situation, there is really no limit, but of course we coordinate that with other jurisdictions that are around us. If once they leave our jurisdiction, once we coordinate the response to the neighboring jurisdiction and they take over that case, then we just assist at that point. And once they catch them, we'll just extradite them later if it's a different state, or transfer them later. But no, it's for the most part, as soon as we can get that neighboring jurisdiction to take over the pursuit, then we'll break it off and assist them and be in assist mode from that point.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, let me ask you a
Yes,
question
sir.
on this, please. I know we split this 3 ways with the Russell County Emergency 911 Sheriff Department and of course our police department. Well, what is the difference between the Russell County Sheriff's Department's part of it and the Russell County E911? Is that not the same, or since the county is larger, do they just share 2 times of it? I mean, explain to me a little bit about that part.
And that's a good question. Some people forget that Russell County E911 is a standalone agency. They have their own board members, they have their own representatives, and they also have their own funding mechanism. When you pay your phone bill, either through a landline or through a mobile device, a portion of that tax that you are collected from that device goes to the Russell County E911 system, and that system is then funded to do the work that they do. The rest of the costs come from either the county commission through the sheriff's department or through the city council through the police department, because those are the 2 agencies that utilize the data that is maintained by the Russell County E911 system. So there's really 3 political bodies. You've got the Russell County E911 board, the Russell County Commission, and the Phenix City Council that fund this network and fund this work. And that's how the cost is split between the 3 agencies.
All right, thank you. And that Russell County is the one that's located up there across from the power company?
Right.
And that where they're located?
The 911 board is located right across from the power company and an office space there. That's correct.
Right. But do calls actually go into their thing, or I mean, how?
No, they actually, what happens is they build the dispatch centers. We maintain a dispatch center here in the public safety building, and the equipment that is in there, the computers, the phone lines, and the connections, those are all maintained by Russell County 911 board. We just utilize the equipment and employ the dispatchers. The sheriff does the same thing. He's got a duplicate 911 called PSAP, a public safety answering point that's built at the county. And those 2 dispatch centers are exactly the same. And it was built by design. So if there's anything that happens to our building or during a storm, we can actually go to their PSAP and actually operate out of their PSAP, and they can do the same with us. And we've done that a number of times, particularly doing upgrades. When we have a major upgrade, we have to install new equipment. We'll close down one dispatch center and collapse it into the sheriff's, or the sheriff will send his dispatchers here and operate out of here. But no, all the equipment that is in those systems or in those networks are produced and maintained by the E911 system. We just utilize the equipment, and we just help pay the cost of the software support. And that's where these contracts and agreements come in.
All right, thank you. That cleared up some of my, some of the confusion that I had with 2 of them being county, which was no problem with that. I was just wondering, I felt like one might have more to do with both systems, and that explained that perfectly. Thank you.
Because, the interesting part to remember about that is because the Russell County E911 system does have a revenue stream. That revenue stream comes from your phone bill. There's only a certain amount of phones that are out there, and so there are limited amount of money that they can generate. There was a time where they could change their fee, their rate, but that has been pretty much locked into place. And so the state now controls how much each county gets as far as revenue from the Russell County E911 system. So that goes through the state now. And so they're basically on a fixed income. So the rest of the operating cost has to come up from, sales tax, use taxes, and property taxes from the county and the city. And so that's why we help maintain that system, because we use so much of it.
Well, we should.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes, sir.
to answer your question too, it's a real good question because of this. I don't know if you remember this, but it should be a centralized system. That started a political nightmare. Public safety is notoriously territorial. And we had a big fallout about that decades ago. So that's why the system wasn't centralized. At the same time, and the chief will tell you that, I see him laughing, it caused a lot of problems, but that would have been more beneficial in my opinion. I don't bother it at this point because of the way it landed during that time, but that's what it actually should be. But I do like the way we put things in place with the backup. It was the second best thing we could do as far as having it at the point of where we are now. But Chief, you want to elaborate on that some?
Right. In most jurisdictions in Alabama, there is a centralized dispatch center that manages the public safety calls for everybody in that county. Again, politically, back in the 90s, whenever this was developed, there was some pushback that
94, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think
94 time frame. There was some pushback about wanting to maintain their own dispatch center. So the next best thing that was decided is that we basically shared the cost, and that's why these agreements are not new. They've been going on for that long, and we share the cost by maintaining the two separate dispatch centers. And of course, the benefit of that is that we have two duplicate systems that can back up each other. And again, they've been done in the past. Even if you had a centralized system and you built one that was centralized, you would still have to have a fallback or a backup system somewhere else that wasn't manned. And so whenever something happened to the main system, you go to the second one. So you always have to have two. The difference was politically, they just, the police chief at the time wanted to maintain control over his dispatchers. The sheriff wanted to maintain control over his dispatchers. And so it has basically evolved into a smaller organization. Russell County E911 is a smaller organization. It's compared to say like Mobile or Baldwin County and even up in Huntsville. Those are huge and major 911 systems that employ hundreds of people that do the dispatching for the entire county, and then the various agencies, whether it be police, fire, sheriff, are dispatched by those centralized networks. We have had discussions in the past to kind of move toward that in the future, but again, that'd be Russell County E911, not the county commission, but Russell County E911 would have to figure out a better way to raise revenue, because currently the way their revenue is set up, they're not able to generate enough money to be able to do that on their own. And that's why we've had to basically pretty much stay with the status quo since it was developed and set up in the 1990s. Yeah. And that's where we are today. So, and what happened was when the state came in and basically took away that revenue stream, or the ability to change that revenue stream from the Russell County E911 board, they pretty much have to live with what they're given. And it's based on population, and their population, of course, will only generate a certain amount of money. And that amount of money is what they have to live within. And that's why we have to do these agreements to be able to continue to move forward and have the best system that we can with the budgetary limitations that we face.
Chief, go ahead, Mr. Bell.
I was gonna say it's a good system with the way that it's working right now, as long as the entities are willing to work together. I think that would be the only downfall if one gets, wants to be in more control than another one. I can see what Mr. Hunter said then that throws in a monkey wrench into the mix. But I think as long as they get along good together, actually be able to work off of each other's unit or program, if the sheriff's department went down for some reason, or we go down for some reason, we still are not down, so to speak. Okay. So I can see a benefit for it as long as we get along, and of course we have to continue to get along, and that's the purpose of a county and the city working together, is to where these things will work. So
there's no way to be political when you talk about public safety. You can't be political when you're talking about fire, EMS, police. You're going to have to respond and handle that situation. So, and I want to speak for the sheriff, but he has told me many times that we're going to work together. Even if Heath and I didn't get along, we're still work together, because it's not about us, as the mayor said 100 times. You've got to be able to serve this community, and public safety is one of those situations, one of those agencies that you just can't have a personal fire in. You've got to be able to respond to everything all the time, no matter who it is, to be able to.
Well, we have to get along. I mean, we have to work with, up in my district, you're working with Russell County and Lee County. That's right. So, it has to be, for that reason, like that you exactly just said, it has to be for the citizens and everybody's protection. That's the purpose of this, is to get somebody to a situation as soon as possible, which, probably many times is saving somebody's life with ambulances and things. So it's a good thing. It's something that I'm glad we do. I'm glad we partake in it. And I'm glad that, we're sharing it equally, because it does for everybody in our area. And I think it's, well needed. And like you said, it's been going on for a long time, so it's nothing new.
Hey, Chief, let me ask you a question. Help me to understand this. Down there on the tower, our tower, I believe down there in Seal, I know the sheriff is using it, and do the 911 board use our tower as well?
Yes, anybody that 911 is on that tower as well. Now, just remember, this is another good example of 911 systems. 911 systems in, say, like Huntsville, Birmingham, and Mobile, those 911 systems actually operate the radio system. But because the 911, local 911, Russell County 911 doesn't have the funding to do that themselves, the city 5 years ago built that radio system in order to provide that same service for the citizens of Russell County. And so the Russell County Sheriff's Office helps pay a portion of that. E911 pays a portion of that, as well as EMA right now does as well. So that's a growing system as well, but it's a very good communication system. But again, because of the limitations of the Russell County 911 board, the city took on that responsibility to maintain and operate that radio system in order for all of the Russell County to benefit.
And those funds go back in there to maintain that tower, help maintain the tower, or that program?
Well, for the most part, it pays the support service on it. The city absorbs probably 80% of the cost of that network. The small amount of money that we charge Russell County and Russell County E911, that money basically goes to pay for the software support on that network as it continues to operate and grow.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Thanks so much. If there's not any others, at this time, we'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, council, proceeding on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to sign documentation with ADEM to appoint the acting director of utilities, Charles D. Woody II, as the representative to ADEM to provide state revolving fund drinking water loans. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City Utilities Department is in need of funding for capital improvements for its water system. And whereas the city has submitted an application to ADEM for funding of the needed capital projects through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, DWSRF. And whereas ADEM requires the city to designate an authorized representative to provide needed information and documentation. And whereas the city appoints the acting utilities director, Charles D. Woody II, as its representative for applications. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama hereby authorizes the mayor and city manager to sign documentation with ADEM to appoint acting director of utilities, Charles D. Woody II, as the city representative for Drinking Water State Revolving Fund for water loans, passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Okay. Council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay. If not, Mrs. Lee, call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also proceeding on the Utilities Department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign documentation with ADEM to appoint the acting director of utilities, Charles D. Woody II, as the representative to ADEM to provide state revolving fund wastewater loans. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City Utilities Department is in need of funding for capital improvements for its wastewater system. And whereas the city has submitted an application to ADEM for funding of the needed capital projects through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, CWSRF. And whereas ADEM requires the city to designate an authorized representative to provide needed information and documentation. And whereas the city appoints the acting utilities director, Charles D. Woody II, as its representative for applications. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama hereby authorizes the mayor and city manager to sign documentation with ADEM to appoint acting director of utilities, Charles D. Woody II, as the city representative for Clean Water State Revolving Fund for wastewater loans, passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Thank you. Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Bailey. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Johnson. Any
Yes.
comments or discussion? Okay, there not being any, I'd like to call for the vote at this time. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next on the ordinance, council, this is a second reading. And it is an ordinance an ordinance in reference to the department or offices of the city of Phenix City, Alabama. The first reading was on the first day of this month. Since this is a second reading and we've already had the first reading, I will not ask the clerk to reread it. But at this time, council, I would like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve this order?
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, council, board appointments. We do have one opening, which is the Historic Preservation Commission. This is a city appointment, but at this time, I would like to open it up for nomination. And at this time, I'd like to make the nomination, like to ask for a nomination of one of our city employees to be appointed to this Historic Preservation Commission. May I have a nomination, please?
At this time, Mayor, I'd like to appoint Chief Raymond J. Smith on that board.
Okay. Again, as I alluded to, it is a city appointment, so I am closing out as far as the nomination. And that is in the form of a motion that Mr. Day has nominated Chief Raymond Smith. So at this time, council, I'd like to ask for a second for that nomination. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, council. We have nothing with the city attorney. Good job, Jimmy. But at this time, under city manager council, we do have a resolution in reference to extending a moratorium on all annexation through December the 31st, 2021. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama is committed to developing adequate plans for the growth and development of the city to better serve, protect, and promote the health and welfare of its citizens. And whereas to that end, the City Council did place a moratorium on all annexations into the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, until such plans are developed and implemented per Resolution 2013-497, approved December the 17th, 2013, and did extend said moratorium until December the 31st, 2020, per Resolution 2019-293, approved November the 19th, 2019. And whereas it is the desire of the City Council to extend said moratorium until December the 31st, 2021. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby place a moratorium on annexations into the City of Phoenix City as set out below. 1, that a moratorium be placed on all annexations into the City of Phoenix City from Russell County. 2, that a moratorium be placed on annexations into the City of Phoenix City from Lee County. 3, that the City Council reserves the right to grant exceptions to said moratoriums should a proposed annexation be deemed financially feasible to the City of Phoenix City. 4, that said moratorium shall be in effect upon approval for a period extending through December the 31st, 2021, at which time it may be extended upon approval by council. 5, the City of Phoenix City reserves the right to revoke said moratorium whether all or in part, at its discretion at any time during the period said moratorium is in place. Passed, approved, and adopted this 15th day of December, 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second, council?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay, this is something that, we put in place and so, again, we got the motion and the second, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee.
Yes. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. And thank you, council. We thank everyone, department heads and everyone. And at this time, council, is there anything anyone would like to say? Council?
Mayor, I would like to take an opportunity just to say, and I think most people will agree that this year has been a year of changes and a year of challenges, but I know that there was also some opportunities within our year. And to all of our citizens, just know that Phenix City is finishing strong in 2020. And we're looking forward to a prosperous 2021. So thank you to all the citizens for, just residing in our city. We're a city that is growing, and we're a city of one. And just keep that in mind. Also, I got a few calls about speeding again, and we've moving the speed signs periodically throughout the city. So I would ask the citizens to be very cautious of speeding within the neighborhoods, and children, like many have said before, is at home, they're out playing, and they want to make sure that their children are safe, and we want to make sure our city is safe. So please watch that as you go throughout our city. And we got about 10 more days before Christmas and 16 before the end of the year. And I just want to say, as I've always said and will say during this time of the year, I just want to wish everyone and their family the gift of faith, the blessing of hope, and the peace of love during this holiday season. And we appreciate you as a citizen, and we love you. Thank you so much, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor, I just like to say, remind the citizen, the reason for the season. We all know the reason for the season, all about Jesus Christ and all about love and all about giving. Not that we receive anything, but it's all about giving from our hearts and loving each other. That's the reason for the season. And I also like to again, I'm very proud of our Park and Recreation Department. As I went down there last night, things looking so beautiful, and we had some folks ahead of me stopping and taking a picture. I'm very proud, as I said on yesterday, they did a little bit extra this year, and also making that car lot, Mr. Bailey car lot, looking real good down there as well. And I like to say to Todd, your staff, and you all did a fantastic job. Also, we want to thank Alabama Power for the use of their power pole, for letting us use that for some of our Christmas decoration. We want to give thanks to them as well. And as has been said by Councilmember Johnson, let us be safe out there and now throughout our city. One of the things that I want to add to this is, let us not throw trash out there. I have a problem with that in my district over here. That trash, I look at it sort of bothers me. And I like to say, remind citizens, this is your city. Let us try to keep it clean as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Mayor, if I can, just a second. Just as the others have said, wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, but keep everyone in your prayers. This has been a difficult year for individuals outside of our city, but it's been a difficult year within our city family. A lot of people have been affected from this COVID-19. Everything you see on TV now looks like we're finally maybe turning a corner on this. but it doesn't change the losses that we've experienced amongst our own families, our city family, and people that we know. Try to keep yourselves contained to small groups during Christmas. And I know that's hard to do because we all want to see friends and family that we haven't seen for a long time. But this battle against this COVID's not over. Let's do as hopefully that we did during Thanksgiving. Keep it as small as you can, but you can still let everyone know with telephone calls, Christmas cards, and everything, how you feel about them. But remember that this battle in our nation for this COVID-19 control is not over. And I just would hate to think that someone this Christmas will not be here next Christmas. So please remember to keep everyone safe within your own family, and keep all the families and everyone in your prayers, our city, our state, our nation, the whole world, because it's going to come to an end, but let's try to make it come to an end quicker than later. And I do wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I thank everyone for allowing us to work with each other. And it's a little difficult when you work on this Zoom platform. It's very convenient because you don't have to jump up and put on a suit and tie and all that. But, we all miss being together. And I know that our city has a lot of functions that people do together, Christmas parades and things, and all that's been different this year. But please understand the reason for it, and please continue to support it, and let our department heads and our city manager and everyone continue to do their job as well as they're doing them. They're doing an outstanding job going through this COVID-19 pandemic, not knowing how to handle it. So they're doing a very good job staying ahead of it. And I thank Mr. Hunter and them for what they do with the city. I thank all of our department heads, our police department, our fire department and all for, not missing one beat during the year with all this going on. That just shows the sacrifice that our city employees are willing to make. And I just want to thank every one of them personally for that.
Thank you. Griff, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just this time of year and like, the other said before, I just want to encourage everyone to, just count our blessings. I think that we get caught up right now in the world today, and there's so many things to look down on, and so much negativity with the pandemic and social injustice and the divisiveness in our country. But I think that we need to, like you say a lot of the time, Mayor, we need to, be positive and think about the things that God blesses us with every day, and understand that no matter what's going on in this world, God gives us new mercies and new graces every day. And I just think we need to be thankful for that. And this year's been really tough on everyone. It's something that I don't think any of us have ever dreamed we'd go through the year we've gone through this year. And we're all still here. We've lost loved ones. We've lost special people to us. But, God has us here for a purpose. And I think this time of year is extremely important for us to, dwell on that and think about that, and think about the family we have, whether it's immediate family or our, our work family, our city council and city family, and just be thankful, for the things that we have. And I think if we do that and we love one another and we're thankful for the things we have and focus on those things instead of the negative, then we can make a difference in doing our part to try to, turn things around to a more positive, loving country. So I just want to, just tell everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And, I'm just thankful for all of you guys and the role that you guys play in our city and our community and the things that you guys do.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, city manager, anything you want to add or take away?
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody. We've had, like you say, everybody said, we've had a difficult year. Still continue to have that and trying to deal with everything. And, through the mercy and grace of God is the only way, and time is the only way we're going to try to make it through. I hope everybody's family continue to be safe. Those of us that's left, and it's something we've been confronted with. Like Mr. Bailey said, that we truly don't know what to do with. I've been through SARS, all kinds of other pandemics, but we've never faced anything like this. And I'm from the old school. You're responsible for everything. You know, it's not a matter of just blaming yourself. It's still a part of responsibility. Like I tell people, a lot of people think it's power in this office as city manager. There's nothing in this office but accountability and responsibility. And that's a tremendous load that you have to handle and you have to deal with. So, and dealing with people, like you say, the city family, you know, you take this, you take all this to the heart, and you got to really think about the families now, you know, all throughout the United States, but especially that's close to you. And that the families, the extended family of this city, those families, what they got to go through this year. You know, the holidays are always difficult when you lose loved ones, and it's going to be, it's enormous. You know, I can look like Dr. Gordy say, we try to look back and look at those people were a big part of what's happened in this city. In this city, we was able to retire double digits in millions of dollars on our debt. At the same time, we was able to put together a conservative budget and come out $5 million more than what we put, because that's being conservative and looking deep into what you want to do for the future of this city. Those people that was in this city that passed away was a big part of that. Ms. Gail and Steve, you know, they was very important. You know, it's a lot of loss. We have people that still in this city that's sick, that's fighting for their life, you know, and trying to make it from one point to another. Those of us that's left, we have a lot to carry. And I think the department heads are really working, doing a great job. And I appreciate you all's understanding, because no matter what we do, when the rubber meets the road, we have to basically come through you all, the council, and pray that the council have a great clarity and understanding, you know, of what we do and what we have to do. We have changes and a tremendous amount of decisions that has to be made, you know, moving forward and trying to deal with this and trying to fight to the end, you know, our, like I say, our different departments, and trying to make sure that our department heads are understanding of one another and that they are multi-talented, and trying to talk with one another so they know what goes on in this city. And like I say, it get thin sometime as far as training people, because it's nothing for a group of people to have to go in quarantine. That can lock you down. That can lock the city down a lot. So in saying that, I hope everybody enjoy their holidays and try to make it through. And we have a lot of good things to look forward to that's coming up in the new year. We're working on a deal now that's going to retire an additional $2 million plus off our debt, at the same time increasing in other factors. So we have that, but the most important thing are the people, are you all and your families. Excuse me. And I'll just say, like to finish, you know, the year off. I know this is our final meeting, and say thank all you all for your understanding and caring of one another and for this city. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all council. And I just want to reiterate what Mr. Gordy said. This has been a tough year. But I do believe, and as we all do believe, is that we continue to hold on to hope and belief and faith, and look at the positive things and the reason why things has been so tough for all of us living in this community as well as this country. But I do believe this is that when things get tough, that is the time that we give more of ourselves for the sake of the whole. Because when we do that, as I stated, and I continue to state this, it gives other a chance to see how awesome we are collectively as well as individually. But it also gives all of us and everyone an opportunity to see how awesome God is. Because this is not just about us. We've all been affected, but I do believe that there's good things that we have been able to see. And as Mr. Bailey said, we haven't been able to meet collectively, which we certainly miss. And we were created to feel and touch and to love and to show compassion to each other. But out of all of this, in spite of, I think what it has done for me, and I do believe for the council and the people that work for this city is that it's been able to let us show and express sincere love and compassion. But even more than that, that it has resonated, because we've lost ones in this family that we love and care for. And so it's a great opportunity for us to really, really show love and compassion. And this time of year exemplifies that, that we do that as far as compassion and love and caring for people. And that's what I want to encourage us to do. In spite of all this, there's still great things that has come out of this. And as I stated, to be able to show that love and compassion. And that's what we truly have done in this community. And in spite of this time of year, where there are people whose hearts hadn't changed, there's people that wish bad. But what I want to encourage the council, the city employees, the citizen of this community, is that let us learn how not to be from that, and how we should be toward each other. And I wanted to just say to all the council members, the department heads, the city manager, everyone, spend time with your family this time of year. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and may God's speed continue to bless all of us individually as well as collectively in our families. But let's remember that the purpose of all of us being here is to make a difference, not for ourselves, but for others. So I just want to share that with you all, that we continue to show love and compassion, and that it resonates what it has done in this community.
Yes.
And with that said, we would like to thank CTV Beam for bringing this to everyone and to our community. You know, let's all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, and let's continue to be that lifter and not leaner. So with that said, we do stand adjourned, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and continue to give of yourself. Thank you all so much, and we do stand adjourned.
Merry Christmas.